Good morning. Welcome to This or That Thursday. My name is Karen Kong and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Canada. And every week I try to post 2 cards in my group for my crafting community to vote on, and then I make the card that gets the most votes on Thursdays. So welcome and thanks for joining me. If you're joining in live or you're watching the replay, please say hi and chat with me. Keep me company because I love to have people to talk to. I don't like talking to myself. And if you're new to my group, tell me where you're watching from. Say hi from wherever you're watching from. So just give me a minute. I'm just going to set up my computer so I can see your comments while I am crafting, okay? So we got 15 centimeters of snow here in Ottawa last night, and I think we're probably supposed to get another 5 today. It's still coming down hard. And I just realized, because my husband does not feel well and my daughter is not feeling well, that I may be the one to have to clear the driveway this morning. That's gonna be fun. I can't even tell there's a front step anymore. Oh, okay, Tara. I hope I will see you back in a little, very shortly, because Sandra said if she's just going out now to shovel the driveway, I don't know how she's going to do it like that fast, unless she has, I guess, the whole house helping at her place. Okay, so I have my computer up and running, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so I'm just going to switch my my camera to my desktop so we can craft together. So close your eyes, don't watch while I move things around, okay? Here we go. Okay, just let me move it down a little bit more. So you can see more of the crafting area instead of the top of this crafting area. Sorry for the wobbling. Okay, just trying to see if it looks straight or not. All right, I think that looks good. All right, so the card that got the most votes was my Fun Fold card. So this is the one I made. It opens like this, and it uses the gorgeous Dainty Flowers DSP. Isn't that pretty? It was really a tricky card to kind of photograph because I just, it's hard to get the right angles, but it's still very nice. So let me show you what I used. Okay, so for this card I used the Dainty Delight stamp set and the dies, and I also used the sending support for the sentiments. And of course there is the DSP. So this is the original sheet of DSP, okay? So what I did was I sliced it right down the middle at 6 inches, and then I trimmed it to what I needed because I didn't know what I would use the other half for. So I have the other half right here. I'm just going to put it away before I lose it. Okay, so that was the original sheet, and I have like 6 inches left, which is exactly half of the half, a quarter of the DSP. So I needed exactly 6 inches wide, and let me just bring up the measurements for myself. It is 5 1/4 inches tall. So don't worry about writing down any measurements, because I always post the measurements in my description, the video description afterwards. So don't worry about writing anything down. You can find it there afterwards, okay? So because this card has quite a few pieces of matting, I went ahead and I prepared some of them. So all my rich razzleberry, see that little border there? All the rich razzleberry mats I've already pre-cut. And I pre-cut some of the white as well. But I'm going to go ahead and make the card base. So there's like the main card, and then there's a little mini card on top that we adhere to it. So I'm going to cut the those card bases first. So that is Starry Sky. And then the very back of this, there's another piece of DSP, which is this one, also from the same DSP pack. And I have to cut that. And I'll show you how I cut out a little square instead of having to chop off the entire side, okay? So let's get started. Let me move these out of the way, and I'll get the trimmer out. Okay. So I do need my measurements for this one because there are a lot of measurements, pieces to cut out and such, so I have to have my measurements open. So this is the Starry Sky, so I'll cut the main card base. So let's get out a sheet of this. I think I've got more than one, no? Okay, so that's one sheet. And for the main card base, it's 5.5 by 11 inches. So this is an 8.5 by 11 standard sheet of paper. I'm going to turn it this way so I can cut 5.5 inches wide. Okay, so on the trimmer, there's a scoring blade and a cutting blade. I'm going to use the cutting blade to cut off 5.5 inches. Okay, and I need to score it several times. So the first one is at 1 3/4. So here I have all the measurements up here, and I'm just going to measure out to 1 3/4. And I'll use the scoring blade this time, not the cutting. Don't want to use that by accident. Okay, so 1 3/4, 3.5. 5 1/4, and then I'm just going to extend the arm here so that I can measure out to 7 inches. And that's all I need for that one. All right, so let's close that up again. Oops. And for the little mini card base, it's 3 by 6. So let me just double check. So if I cut off 5.5, so I should have 3 inches left exactly, right? Okay, so 3 inches. So I just need to chop off 6 inches for this little mini card. And I'm going to score it at 3 inches. And that's the card bases right there. All right. So the other thing I need to cut is my DSP. So if you remember, I cut it straight down the middle of the original 12 by 12, so it's 6 inches high, but I only need 5 and, let me just double check, 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to chop off this way because I want to get rid of the extra white so I can see more flowers. So 5 1/4. I'm going to chop it off there. And actually, you know what, I had toyed with, because the flowers don't quite all come up over the top of the little mini card, I toyed with the idea of like chopping off more off the top so I could bring it up a bit more, but then I need to fill in the bottom with some other DSP. So I decided against doing that, but maybe if I feel like doing it later, I'll do it for another card. But oh great, Sandra, you did make it. I don't know how you did that, so cleared the driveway so fast. Like that was what, 20 minutes? That's incredible. Okay, so like I said, so I'm going to chop off the top what is it, 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. And then I have to cut it into panels of 1 1/2 inch each. Okay, so this 6-inch panel is exactly enough for this card. So I need 4 of them. So 1 1/2 inches. Okay. So you already did some shoveling. Joey likes to leave it for the end. I don't know what he's going to do if we get like 30 centimeters or something, but yeah. Okay, so I have a trouble with multitasking. Here I am talking, I can't cut at the same time. Okay, so 1 1/2 inches. Now I have to make sure I keep this in the right order so that I can reassemble the scenery back in the same order. Now if you use like, well, I guess even if you use like a piece of DSP that was a more uniform pattern, you could get away with mixing them up, but it might look better if they all lined up perfectly and the patterns kind of flowed from one panel to the next, right? Okay, so 1 1/2 inches each. All right. Okay, so the last piece of DSP that I need is from this piece. Okay, so I didn't want to have to chop off the entire thing because I didn't know if later on I'd need like a section like this and I wouldn't be able to get it because I chopped it off. So I only cut out this piece, and it's pretty easy to do when you have this trimmer because you've got measurements up here and you've got measurements along the side of the ruler here. So that's how I did it. So for this piece, I need 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure another section right here. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I guess I could go this way too. All right, so because I already know that this is 2 3/4 because I cut it the first time, right? 2 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to cut another 2 3/4 down. Oh, I'll have to do some adding in my head here. Okay, so if I'm already at 2 3/4, that'll be 3/4, 5 1/2, right? So I have to cut, so this is already at 2 3/4, so I'm going to cut down to 5 1/2 this time. Okay, so I'm actually going to start my cutter, my blade at the 5 1/2 inch mark, which is right there. So I'm lining it up on the side. There's a little notch here, and I'm lining it up with my ruler here at the 5 1/2 inch mark, and I'm going to cut upwards. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it again, and I will measure 2 3/4 this way now. So this is over here. Okay, and I'm going to leave this at 2 3/4. Well, I guess I could just come down to 2 3/4, right? I just don't want to go too far past by accident. So let's go. Okay, I think I cut through. Let's see. Nope, not quite. A little bit more. Actually, 2 3/4. Yeah, it's supposed to be 2 3/4. But I feel like this was more. Let me just double check. No, I guess I was having a little bit of trouble seeing the lines here and the measurements because I didn't want to put my head in the camera. But that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So that's great. So I will put this away. I think I'm done for now with the paper trimmer. I'm going to start assembling the mats with all the pieces so that we don't lose any pieces. Okay, so I have rich razzleberry prepared. So this piece goes on here, right? So where's my glue? Here we go. Oh, Sandra, yeah, I don't know if I could do math without coffee. I had my coffee. So, okay, so let's put this on. So my glue is a little bit funny. It's coming out like toothpaste because I think it froze on the way from Stampin' Up to here and didn't defrost properly, but it still works. I just have to squeeze hard. But Stampin' Up is kind enough to send me replacements, which should be coming tomorrow. All right, let's see. So I'm just going to center that. Okay, so this part is for stamping. There's a white, I have a white piece that goes on top, but we'll stamp it first. So I'm not going to do that yet because I need to go off the edge. So that is one section. And then there's the 4 skinny panels, right? So there's the 4 panels here that I'm going to assemble now. So I'm going to glue all of those pieces in order, well, onto the mats. Okay. So yeah, because we got so much snow, it's a snow day here, and I have everybody home, and I don't normally do lives when everybody's home, but looks like my husband and my daughter might have caught, well, for sure my daughter has a stomach bug, and my husband said he doesn't feel so good either, so we'll see how he does, and I'm going to hope and pray that I do not catch whatever they have. Okay, there's one. Yeah, I thought that I would save some time, Sandra, by pre-cutting some of the mats because it's just repetitive, and it would be more fun to do the assembly part for you on live than to show you how to cut over and over again. I thought for sure you wouldn't be back for a half an hour or an hour. All right, that's 2. I feel like Count Dracula, I could say, and 2. Anybody else remember Sesame Street? Okay. So the thing about adding, I was debating whether or not to do this card without all the mats, because you don't have to have them, but I do think that they add like a nice bit of color. And you know what, I also do like how it feels, how the card feels. So this one's a little bit large. You can see that there's not as much border on this one. How the card feels when it's like heavier, right? It's got more layering and it just feels more substantial. I like it. Yes, this particular print of this DSP pack is really pretty, and I was happy to use it for this card because I like how it flows. I'm gonna have to find some other layouts where I can keep this this flow in the paper. Oops. Okay, so now we have our 4 panels. All right, so let me start folding these card bases. Okay, so this little mini card is here. And so this one, I'm going to fold in alternating directions. So this way first. And then back. Back again. Yes, this is really easy where, you know, to make a card, you just really need the DSP to do all the work for you. Really don't need a lot. I mean, the stamping is minimal. All right, so there you go. That's how it folds, okay? So super easy. I'm just gonna fold it down more so that it hopefully lies a little bit flatter afterwards. Of course, I have to lie it flat to adhere my panels. So I'm just going to keep these in order, and I'm going to adhere these now. So it looks like a complicated card, but really it's not very complicated at all. I think the more complicated part is stamping and decorating the very front part of the that little mini card that goes on top. So again, you're going to center it in the center of each of these panels. It's like a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And I debated also changing up the color here from Rich Razzleberry to one of the greens. So there's two greens in this DSP. It's Old Olive and Mossy Meadow, but I think it looks really good with the Rich Razzleberry, so I decided just to go ahead with keeping the same color. And yeah, when you get this DSP, I mean, it really, it does all the work for you, and you don't even need the stamp set when you choose this paper. You can do so much with it without having the stamp set or the coordinating dies. You can still make beautiful cards. I've switched over to using glue more frequently now that, especially in cases like this where sometimes like you've only got a 1/16 of an inch to play with, that it gives you that just that extra few seconds of wiggle time to adjust the placement after you put it down so that it's lined up. Because once you stick it down with the tape, it doesn't, you don't really have any wiggle room with the tape. But it's all personal preference. I used to use the tear and tape or the stamp and seal all the time, and now I've kind of changed my mind. So this is the back panel for this section. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down, but I'm going to wait to adhere the white because I want to stamp on it first. Yeah, Sandra's saying that she has to think about the other prints in this set, and I don't have the oval die that comes with, I think it's one of the framed florets set. I also don't, because that one will perfectly cut out the print with the oval layout of flowers, and I don't have it. So I'm going to have to think about how I want to use that as well. But I've seen like other layouts where they used the whole sheet and or the whole section, that is, in a rectangular shape. So, you know, it is possible. Just have to use your creativity and figure out what to do with it. And I've seen a lot of people fussy cut the flowers. I don't think I have the energy and the talent to cut out the flowers by hand. They look gorgeous. I just don't know if I could do all the fussy cutting. Oh, yes, we can do coffee again, Sandra, and you can borrow mine and make some die cuts and stuff so that you can coordinate. I do love the dies in this set for the individual pieces like this. Okay, so the little flowers, the little sunflowers, those are just so adorable, and the little centers are just so cute. Okay, so I've assembled these. Let's get to some die cutting and stamping. So let me just show you what else. Okay, so I die cut the sunflowers and some stems and some leaves and assembled all that. So I'll die cut those first, and then we'll do some stamping and assemble this, okay? So I have one left over from the first batch, because every time you cut out the little center pieces, they make 4 of them. And I need my cut and emboss machine. Just a second. All right, so I need some sunflowers. So I have the full one. I'm just going to cut 2 side pieces, or like side angle flowers. Okay. Okay, so I need this, and I need the leaves. And here's the side view of that sunflower. And I need stems. All right. My replacement mini has been shipped. Yes, it has, and it's supposed to arrive to tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, this set has lots of tiny dies, lots of little pieces to put together. I love, like, this one is on its own. Like, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 that you can die cut, like the image, but then there's a whole bunch of extra ones that you can die cut that have no corresponding stamped image. It's just going to cut out the leaves or the flowers, right? So these ones you don't have to have a stamp, you just die cut them. Yeah, so, but I love the sunflower the best. Okay, so I need a few different colors here. So I have strips of paper left over from, you know, cutting other pieces. And this is why I saved them, because, you know, do you really want to cut, like, from a brand new 8.5 by 11 sheet paper to cut out this, right? Tara, you're asking, do they add dimension? Do you mean, like, to the die cuts? Yes. See, you can see, like, there's little dots here in the middle. It adds, like, little dots to the die cut. Can you see that? So yeah, super cute. Oh, there we go. I think that's better. Right? So you can see the little dots in the middle of the sunflowers. Or is this, I don't know, a sunflower or if it's a daisy, but yeah. Okay, so let me just put all the pieces on here so we can die cut them. So I'm going to cut out some more centers of my flower. I need several stems, so 3 stems at least, but we'll have to do it one at a time. The leaves, they gave me 2 dies to work with, so let me cut that out. Trying to save space and save paper here, so I wonder if I can fit both of these here. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape down. This is washi tape, so they don't move. Okay, and then I wonder if I could fit more on the screen. Put that one there, there. Let's just do that. Okay. Let's run that through. Oh no, see, this is what I've done before. This is not the first time I've done this. I had my die facing the wrong way. Yes, Sandra, I know you know my pain. Accidentally cutting it the wrong way. I wasn't paying attention where I put it. I'm just looking for my stylus so I can poke out. Oh, there it is. Off by. Oh yes, I have done that, Sandra. I have done the wrong, cut the wrong piece or size, and you have to start over again. You have this large other piece. I've done folds and stuff that didn't work out, and I just keep it for die cutting. Okay, so there's my little sunflower pieces. So I'm just gonna grab. I have a magnetic dish for putting all my dies in. I don't want to lose them, so I'm just going to put it in there. Okay, so here's my leaves. Look, 4 tiny little leaves. Second. Okay, we'll have to do that one again. I don't need this one. And I'm going to cut a few more leaves, I think. All right, now that my die is facing the correct way, let's run that through again. Oh, I need another stem. Almost forgot. Let me just take that off the washi tape. I'm going to poke it out. Whoops. Yes, I have a set of three of the magnetic dishes. So I have the little one here, and I have like the other 2 are full, and they're holding all sorts of little twiddly bits and stuff that I need to go back and use up so that I can empty them out again. Okay, so let's put this one here. Yeah, I love having the magnetic dishes, so then I don't feel like they might get swept off into the garbage by accident. All right. Oh, hang on. I see my die moved here. I didn't tape it in place, and it's overlapping, so let's take care of that. I think it's fine. We just need to move it apart. There we go. Yeah, who would have thought that you would find them in automobile sections? You know, when they sell it as when they sell these dishes as craft items, you are paying more. But then you go to the automobile section, and you'll find these for like much less because they're not called crafters tools. For some reason, they're much cheaper as automobile accessories. Okay, so I have one. I need one more of these flowers. Sorry guys, I'm taking a long time. Okay, one more flower. And one more stem. Let's see, will it fit this way? Oh, I didn't take out the stem yet either. Just gotta poke it out. Yes, the magnetic plate bowls are meant for screws and bolts and stuff like that. There. Okay, so one more. This one I think I will stick down because it's in a bit of a narrower area. Okay. I think we have all our pieces now. Yes, when I told my husband afterwards that I'd gone to Princess Auto without him, he was like, "You went without me?" I was like, You want to go hang out at the auto store?" I guess I should have known better. All right, so we have all our little pieces. I'm going to move this away. All right, so now I think we'll do some stamping. Okay, so on my my white piece here, I used the stamps to make a background first in Old Olive, and then I assembled my flowers on top of that. Okay, so I'm going to stamp those on first, and I need, it's this one. Oh, I have a little bit of ink on the back. Let me just clear that off. Oh yeah, I did tell him that we went together. I hope Sean won't be upset that you went without him. Okay, so Old Olive. And I just put some down the sides and the bottom sections. I'm just going to ink this up. And I'm going to check that it is evenly inked. Now the thing with cling stamps is that I forget sometimes that they're not, they have a little bit of give, and so you can't press too hard or your image will come out like fatter, if for lack of a better word. Like it just kind of spreads the image, and you want it to be crisp, right? So I'm trying not to press too hard, but that's why I like using the Stamparatus, because it gives an more even pressure. But this is freehand stamping, so. Oh, Sean goes all the time. What kind of stuff is he looking for? Oh, you know what? I was just looking at mine, and I just realized that I had actually stamped off first because I didn't want it to be quite so dark. So let's do that. I think I even stamped off twice. I forgot. See, this is reality stamping. Mistakes happen, and I'm just going to turn this over and use the other side. Okay, so I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp off twice, and then I'll stamp on here. There we go. All right, so now it's lighter. Okay, let's do that again. And I'm going to put one down here. See, I wiggled it by accident, but it's going to be covered up. I think it'll be mostly covered up over here, so I'm not going to worry about it. And one over here. There we go. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Okay, so let me clean off my stamp. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so he's fixing up stuff. Yeah, Joey's a fixer-upper too, so he looks for that kind of stuff too. All right, so I've stamped that, and I'm going to stamp the background of my main section. So originally I'd put some on the side here, and I'd put one off to the other side, and I think I'm going to put this a little bit off the paper a little bit more because I find the stems are kind of floating in the middle of the air, and I'm not really totally happy with that, so I'm going to kind of angle it a bit more. Okay, so let me get out the other stamps. Sean wants company while he looks through the auto center. But at least it was fruitful for you. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought you would have found a self-healing mat in an auto center? That I am not sure what, you know, the guys use. Oh, I need a bigger block. Just a second. This is the eye block. Nope, still not big enough. This is not the right one. I'm beginning to wonder which one I used now. Which one did I use? I guess this is the only one. I must have used my Stamparatus, I think. Because it's kind of awkward doing it like this. I think I will use my Stamparatus for this one. And that way I won't smudge or blur any of my pictures or the stamped image, because the Stamparatus will hold it still for me. So let's move it over a little bit. You can see, yeah, see, that's the edge of the original stamped image that I did for the other original card. All right, so I want it approximately here. And I'm going to put the other one on at the same time since I have the Stamparatus out. Okay, so this is the other image that I used. I think I want it here, so I'm going to angle it a bit more so that I don't get the stems kind of dangling in midair. Okay, so let's ink that up. I'm just going to put a block underneath it so it's nice and flat. It's a little bit high, but so we've had a really mild winter so far, considering. I mean, usually in January in Ottawa, it's like -20s and, you know, really frigid. But it's been pretty mild. It's like -5 today. So, can't complain about the temperature, but we are getting lots of snow. Okay, so I can see that one doesn't have all the ink filled in, so I'm just going to go over it again. And that is the beauty of having a Stamparatus. There, that's better. I'm just going to do that part a little bit more. Oops. There we go. That's better. Okay, so let's leave that as is and clean off these stamps. Yeah, that's a great deal for your huge self-healing mat. Oh, Sarah, tell me, so the temperature's going to drop next week? Well, like I said, I can't complain. I mean, we really haven't had a lot of cold weather yet, so let's hope it's not for a long stretch, but okay, I'm going to get these off, put them away. I'm just trying to make this fit back in here. Okay, that's good. And let's use the sending support sentiment. So I'm going to stamp. I'm going to use the same sentiments. There are so many ways you might feel right now, and alone shouldn't be one of them. So if you see, when I close up the card, you can see part of this sentiment. So I think this time I'm going to put that low enough that I should be able to cover it up with my card so that it's not displayed. Although I could put it a little further to the right, but then it wouldn't look quite right, would it? If you open it up, it's not centered. So I think I'll aim this time to put it down here. Yeah, I think that it works out with the image more off to the side. Okay, down here. No, that's not the right one. Okay, so I put my sentiment somewhere. I'm a little bit confused as to where I put this. Oh, you know what? Maybe I put it back in here by accident. Yeah, I did. That's why. Okay, so there's the sentiment. So I'm going to put it down here perhaps instead this time. Let's see. I'm just going to eyeball this one. Oh, I can see that it's going to go too far. So I'm going to put it further down even. All right. So when I line this up, you can't tell by the sticker on the front if the image on the back is going to be straight. So what I'm going to do is pick it up first, and then I'm going to check. So I'm using the grid lines on my panel here to line up the sentiment before I stamp it. So I think that looks straight. It's because I'm looking through and then I'm seeing like my my paper background also has a grid, so just trying to see if it looks straight from there. Okay, so let's go with that. And I'm doing this in Rich Razzleberry. Yeah, I know. I have like, sometimes I have 2 or 3 different cards on the go and I have everything everywhere, but then I have to stop and clean it up because it's making me crazy. Yeah, but my crafting table is usually quite messy, which is strange because I actually prefer to be tidy. But still, you know, when I'm crafting, the table is just crazy messy. There's just so many little things everywhere. Okay, so this one I'm stamping a couple times. This one, actually even 3 times, because I like how it looks when it's darker, because then it stands out more. There we go. Okay, so let me clean that off. Oh, I can tell today's live is going to go longer because assembling the little flowers in the front takes a little bit of time. Okay, take this one off. All right, and I need to stamp this sentiment here. So again, I'm going to use a scrap, and you know what scrap I used is all those strips that that you always cut off, right, when you're cutting your cardstock to size. So I have a whole pile of those strips, and I'm just going to try and find one that looks... I should have saved the one that I had yesterday, because I think I had a bit more left, but I don't know where I put it, of course. It's disappeared. Just going to double check. Yeah, I don't think I have that extra piece. Okay. Let me see. All right, let's just take this piece. And I always line it up with one of the grid lines because sometimes when you're setting up to stamp and you've attached your stamp to the panel, the side panel, and you go to lift it off, so you can stamp, it lifts the paper with it. So it's always good to know where it was already lined up so that you can just put it back without having to readjust the stamp again. Okay. All right, so here's my sentiment. And I'm going to bring it up to the top. Let me just see if that's at the top. Okay. Again, I'm going to have to check the back image. So that's... Your kids are still asleep. My son is already... Everybody's up, but of course my daughter was up really early. She was up at like 5 something because she didn't feel good. And okay, so I think that looks straight. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. And I was gonna use like a die to cut it out, but it actually looks better just straight. I tried it with another die and it didn't fit. It didn't quite fit, so I think it worked out well with just a straight edge. Three seems to be the magic number with this color for the sentiment. There we go. I think I'm happy with that now. Okay, I'm going to close this up. Okay, and then we'll trim it down to size. So I can see that it actually did not turn out quite as straight as I'd like. Let's see if we can fix that. So it's very slightly off. And if you know me, I prefer having my sentiments straight and lined up. Let's see if that looks better. Yeah, I think that looks better. Okay, so now I'll line up the bottom. Hopefully that will work. I'm going to use that as a guide. I'm just gauging how far off the F it's going to cut. Oops, let's see it. There. Okay. Okay, so that works. I'm happy with that. And if you ever notice, like there's a little lip here after I cut, and I like to just smooth it down. And then I'm going to trim it. Okay, so like this on an angle. There. Now you remember that 3/4 inch piece, the strip that we took off of the top of the DSP? I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to use it. Remember this piece? So I just turned it over. This was the top side, but the back is a nice green color. So again, I just smoothed down the edges from cutting it. And I'm just going to trim it off because I felt like the white was a little bit too stark on top of the background by itself, so I think the green just gives it a little bit of emphasis. So I'm just going to slice off, I'm going to eyeball this, approximately how much I need, and I'm going to say here. Okay, could probably gone a little bit skinnier on here, but so then you can see more green, right? It's a little bit wide, but I think it's too late at this point. I don't know. What do you think? I'm a little bit afraid to try. Because if I slice it and it moves or something, then it's going to force me to have to redo this. Okay, so let's just go with that. I'm going to glue it on before I lose it. Okay. There. All right. So let's assemble this. This is going to go on the rich Razzleberry. Yeah, Sandra, I agree. We'll just leave it. Okay. Okay, so that is my background. Now I have to get all those little tiny pieces put together. Where's my tweezers? I need my tweezers for this. Okay, so I think I cut two of these, the stems shorter, so they wouldn't all stick out the bottom. But let's put on the first one. The very first one I put on was the big flower. And I want it to be somewhere around here, right? So that's approximately where I'm going to aim. So I'm going to put some glue on the back. And normally when I'm using like the glue, like I'll get little tiny dots when it's liquid. This one has been a little bit trickier because it comes out like toothpaste, like I said. So we'll just do our best. It's fine, just I can't get quite as small of a drop as I would used to. And if I was planning ahead, I might have put like an adhesive sheet and then I could just, you know, peel this off like a sticker. But that's okay. All right, so I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want my my flower to end up, right? Because I want my big flower to be over here somewhere, I think. Right, so that's where I want my stem. Okay. Let's put the flower on. So I don't glue down every single petal, I just do the center. That way I can slide something underneath if I want to afterwards. Yes, for sure, that fine tip glue, it would be handy for this, for sure. I've been able to make do with the liquid glue in this bottle so far, but for sure, like when it's a skinny stem like this, for sure the fine tip glue would make things easier. Okay, so let's glue on the stems for the other ones. So again, so this one is kind of long, so I don't need it to be this long, right? So I'm just going to trim it down. Okay. Whoops. There we go. I can tell that's the back. Okay. And I want it to aim this way. So let's do this. And we'll put the little flower head on. Isn't that cute? Oops. There we go. I could see like a little gap there between the stem and the flower head. Okay, and then there's these tiny little round pieces that belong here, so let's glue those on. But they look so cute when they're done. There's just a little bit of assembly required, right? There. And I'm going to put the other stem down as well. And again, I'm going to trim it a little bit shorter because I don't want it to go quite so high. So I'm going to cut it off right here. Squeezing this out is becoming more of a challenge as it empties. Like, the less there is, the harder I have to squeeze, right? So I can't wait for the replacement glue to arrive. Okay, so approximately here. All right, this is all going to get covered up here, so I'm not too concerned if, like, you know, the layering doesn't look quite right or okay, let's turn that over. Whoops, I want it to be this way around. I want my daisy to face the sun. Okay. And one more little piece. I really love those little dots that they put into the center. It just adds texture and it looks so good. There we go. All right, now I'm going to add leaves. So this one here perhaps, right? And let's see which direction these face. There's some that have a little bit more curve to them, so I'm going to choose those ones for my flower over here. So, trying to decide how I'm going to place them. So I think I want it to go underneath my other flower, so I'm going to have to slide it underneath. Oh, a black-eyed Susan. You are right, Sandra. I knew it wasn't like quite, because daisies are normally white, so yes, you are right. I have black-eyed Susans in my garden even. I just forgot. Whoops. I don't know how you would do this if you didn't have tweezers. There we go. And here's the left-facing leaf. Yeah, I could probably choose like a darker, the espresso for these centers, so it's more like a black-eyed Susan. I use the soft suede. I'm wondering, should I put it underneath here? I think I'm just going to let that one sit on top. Okay, and maybe one more leaf down here. Let's see if this one's facing the right way. No, this is the other way. I'll use this one. Okay, so now that all my little leaves are on, if I can lift this up and there we go. All right, and now I'm going to attach some twine and I'll cover this up. like this, okay? So I'm going to put some tear and tape, sorry, not tear and tape, Stampin' Seal on the back. And I'm not actually going to tie the bow. I'm going to use a trick that I saw somebody else use, where they just kind of wind it and adhere it to the back. Oops. Okay, so let's see. Let's go like this. And like this. I'm gonna move it over so I can curve my ribbon a bit, my thread a bit more. That. Okay, does that look good? I think it's a little bit big. I'm gonna make it, and that's the beautiful thing, is that I can just pull it off and adjust it. I don't have to undo the knot or anything. I just kind of pull it off, adjust it, because I'm just sticking it to the tape at the back. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over and take a look. Great. All right, so I'm just going to cut it then. Sorry, I'm still fiddling with it. I think I want that to be a little bit longer. There, I think that's better. All right, so let's snip that. And I'm going to put dimensionals. Okay, so because there are a bunch of layers here, I'm going to be careful not to put a dimensional so that it lands right there, right? Because otherwise it'll make a big lump and my sentiment won't lie flat. You can actually see like a lump in it, so I'm going to avoid that. So I'm going to aim for, I'm going to put it all here, and maybe, I don't know if there's enough room to put one back just down here to support it. We'll see. Okay. So let's put it here. And I think I can use a little mini one in the corner, right? Because the bottom, I think the bottom might have some tiny bit of room there to put a dimensional. Let's see what that works. Okay. So I'm just trying to position this. I think that looks straight. Yeah, I think that worked out. Okay, so there's my little mini card, and I can attach it to the front now, right? So let's put some glue on. We're in the final stretches, ladies. Thanks for hanging in with me. Okay. Go. All right, we can do the final assembly now. So I'm going to put on my back piece here. Getting a bit of glue on my fingers. Okay. All right, so when you put on that little Z fold, the way we're going to do is first I'm going to figure out where I want it, right? So I want it to cover up my sentiment in the middle, which I think there'll be no problem doing that. And think I'll put it here. I want a little bit of my green to show there. So if that's where I'm happy with it, maybe a little further up. I do like things centered. Okay, so when it opens up, it'll be like that, right? So I'm going to hold it down like this, okay? And I'm going to let this flap open, and I know that I just want glue on this side, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue like this. Put it and adhere that. Okay. Then I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to put some glue on this side. And we'll close that like that. Okay, so it probably needs a little bit of time to dry to make sure that it is sufficiently adhered, but look, this is pretty much the card. So that's my card for today. Pretty easy, right? The Z-fold looks like it might be complicated, but it's actually not too bad. It's pretty easy to put together. It's a lot of gluing and there's a lot of mats, but it looks really fancy. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and you'll comment and tell me if you liked this card demonstration. And I hope everybody has a great day. I'm going to be shoveling after this, I have a feeling. But it'll be great exercise, I'm sure. And hopefully I'll get back to card making soon. But everybody have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye.